This is the new meta defense after the patch. Now the defense is found in the formation 4-3 even 6-1, and the play we're going to be using is cover 4 quarters. It can be found in all of these playbooks listed here. Before you call the play, make sure your safety depth and width are set to close and pinch. Now you're going to want to go over to the 4-3 formation, hit left on your D-pad, and then you're going to find the even 6-1 formation. As far as players go, you're going to want your fastest linebackers on these 3 outside positions. And you're going to want the fastest linebacker out of those 3 to be in the middle because that's going to be your user. Now, as for these 4 interior linemen, you're actually going to want your biggest and strongest players here. Now, before the patch, I would have told y'all just to put your fastest D lineman here, but since EA nerfed block shedding by a ton, I think what they're doing is putting a bigger emphasis on a player's strength, block shedding, and size. I wasn't getting any sheds when I had my fastest players at these 4 positions. The only time I was getting sheds was when I actually subbed in my biggest and strongest players with the highest block shed. So that's why I'm going to tell y'all, make sure you have your biggest and strongest players here, all with high block shedding. Okay, once all that's set up, we're going to come out and cover 4 quarters. But before we do that, we're going to make sure to come out in a stunt. Now, the stunt's going to be player specific. If you're playing against someone who's rolling out a lot with their quarterback, don't use Texas 4-man because it's susceptible to the rollout. Instead, use the left Texas 2-man if it's a right-handed quarterback, or use the right Texas 2-man if it's a left-handed quarterback like Vic. Now, the reason you want to use the right Texas or the left Texas is because it allows a stunt to come in from one side, but you're able to QB contain on the other side. For this example, we're going to use the Texas 4-man. To set this defense up, you're going to want to spread your defensive line by hitting left on the D-pad and then up on the D-pad. And then what you're going to want to do is actually blitz the running back side linebacker. The way to do this is hit right on your D-pad twice, and then it's going to pull up your linebacker icons. You're going to select the icon you want to blitz, which is X in this situation, and then hit down on the right stick. And now he's in a blitzing angle. The last thing I do is actually hover my user as close to the center as I can while still maintaining this 2-point stance. I don't want my user to be in this 1-point stance because this sometimes lets him get caught up in the block, and it's really hard to disengage right now after the patch. So that's why I always want him on this 2-point stance like this. So that's how we're going to set up the pressure, and it works really well for it being only 5-man blitzing. Now, once the blitz is set, you're going to also have to set up your coverage. What I like to do typically is actually putting my outside corner in a hard flat and then my outside safety on a deep half. So to do this, you have to press Y twice, select your outside corner, which is X for me, and then hit left on the left stick, and that's going to put it into hard flat. Once that's done, you're going to want to put that safety in a deep half. To do this, you press Y twice, then you select the safety icon, and you're going to hit up on the left stick to put him in a deep half. The last thing I'll do is actually shade down by pressing Y and then down on the right stick, and then your defense is going to look like this. Sometimes I'll put these 2 guys in clouds. To do this, you just shade down by pressing Y and then down on the right stick, and then you shade up right after by hitting Y and then up on the right stick, and then they're going to be in clouds. So this is the basic defensive shell, but you're still going to have to adjust based on how your opponents play in the game. So now that the defense is set up, what makes this defense so good is it's going to force your opponent to block his running back. Now, if they block the running back, they're going to have a better chance of picking this up, especially if you only send 5. But if they don't block the running back, this defense is going to scream. So let me show you an example of when I don't block my running back here. And as you can see, that linebacker just gets a straight line blitz to the quarterback. Now, the goal for this defense is actually to make your opponent start blocking his running back. Once they start blocking their running back, as a defender, you should feel like you've won that battle because now you only have to worry about 4 receivers. So now what you can do, instead of blitzing that linebacker, you can start putting him out in a zone or manning him up to different receivers on the field based on what your opponent's doing. Now here's a real game situation of this defense working in one of my MCS games. Now we're playing against a pretty good opponent here. This was late in the 4th quarter and I was actually up 7. So I wanted to play more coverage here, but still try to generate a little bit of pressure. And that's why you're seeing me blitz this outside linebacker here. But I want to do my best to try and get pressure by only sending 5 so I can still have 6 players in coverage. And in this situation, I was just running the Texas 4-man, and we're going to see how it performed against a real opponent. So as you can see, we actually got him to throw the ball away in that situation, which was huge, especially because he didn't have any timeouts. So any loss of yards there was a very big deal. So again, I'm just changing my coverage a little bit, but it's the same concept. Now I'm just using Quincy Williams here. I just want to send 5 and try to generate pressure by still playing coverage. And as you can see, we got that really nice loop from Von Miller there, forcing him to a 3rd and 21 with only 20 seconds left. So in this specific situation, I wasn't too worried about his quarterback rolling out. I wasn't worried about him gaining a bunch of yards here. So that's why you're going to see me use the Texas 4-man here instead of like the left Texas 2-man. So on this play, he actually decides to send his running back out, which is honestly music to my ears because I just know we're going to get even more pressure if he's not blocking his running back. All I do is blitz the linebacker that's closest on the line, and then the other linebacker I'm actually still putting out in coverage, and then I'm just going to use your Diablo over the middle. As you can see, we get a really nice blitz angle there, and that actually ended up winning us the game in one of our MCS games.